Okay, so right now I am in my little craft area and I'm getting ready to make my Rapunzel wig. Before I start building the wig, I made these last night. There's 3 of them. This is just 2. But they are long lengths. They are probably about 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4.5 feet in length. And they are 3.5 inches in width, and I just sewed them into tubes and I filled them with stuffing. And these are going to be my inside of my braid. I didn't do this on camera just because it was a task I did last night before I started filming. So, and then I'm stringing lights into the wig, and hopefully it looks good, and if it just looks like nothing, then that sucks, but also the lights were $15 on Amazon. So now I have to string the lights into the 2 other ones. So they're exactly the same wig, and I'm going to remove all of the wefts from the top of the wig, and I'm gonna use hot glue because I'm lazy, and I'm gonna hot glue them around the length, and I'll show that in video. After I'm finished making those, I'm gonna attach them to a headband that goes around the forehead, and they're going to attach to the back of this headband, which is gonna be the braid as a separate part of the wig, just because I feel like having the weight on the back of my neck is gonna be better than having all of the weight on the top of my head. And then this is the wig that is going to be the top. She's a little bit curly. I might straighten her. I'm gonna cut her in half like this, and then I'm gonna use this bottom part for the bottom of the braid. And then the top of it is going to be put back into a braided sort of overlay, and the braid is gonna go underneath it. So that's the plan that I'm working with, and hopefully it turns out the way that I'm imagining it in my head. So let's get started! Okay, so this is my braid so far. You can't see it super well because of it's a length instead of like a width. Maybe I'll see if I can get some close-up shots of it. So this is what the braid looks like so far. I have it hung up there by a whole bunch of elastics. And there are some spots like right here where you can see the inside. I'll just put a flower there and call it a day, but there's a few little spots like that. Like I said I was gonna do, I took the wig I'm using for the top and I cut the ends off of it and I used that for the bottom. And then on the inside, I used the wig that was for this that I used some of it was for those braids. But there was a part on the very top. Let me see if I can show. There was a part on the very top that was like a skin top that I used, and I just stuck that to the very end of the braid with hot glue because I'm too lazy to wait for glue to dry. And then I glued a whole bunch of hair around the outside, and I used these braids just to cover up the seams of the hot glue, and I used a zip tie just to secure it underneath there. And then I used this flower just to cover up where they're attached there. This is what it looks like so far. It does look pretty much just like fabric. It doesn't really look like a wig, but I did use like an extremely sheer, what is this stuff called? Tool. I used an extremely sheer tool to cover the hair so that you could still see the hair through it, but I think it might still be a little bit too condensed because it just looks like, you know, just looks like hair. Or it just looks like tulle. But yeah, that's what it looks like so far. The lights don't look super great on it. It doesn't look like how I was hoping it would. The lights up here and they're taped together so it's easier for me to just turn them all on. But this is what it looks like with the lights on. It looks more like fireflies than light. I was hoping that having the tulle and the hair over it would help regulate some of the light through it, but it didn't work how I was hoping. I'm not too disappointed about it though. If I was ever to make it again, I would probably use twinkling lights that like move around on the inside of it, so they're not all just condensed into one spot. But I need this for a birthday party this weekend, so I need it for a birthday party tomorrow. So I'm kind of on a deadline and I'm kind of crunching making it. So now I'm going to attach all of these braids in like the creases, or in some of the creases of the braids, so that it can cover up some of these like harsh white bits, and she just has these, so obviously I'm using them as detail. Okay, so when I was preparing to make this wig, it was like a few months ago, I was prepping for it, so everywhere I went I would look and see if I could find cheap flowers. I think they're all from the dollar store, but I looked at like Michael's, IKEA, a whole bunch of different places. They were really expensive everywhere, so I just waited for the dollar store to get in like the $1.75 ones, and I grabbed a few of those. So to decorate the wig, I have these 3 colors of these little berry picks. Just a dollar store bag that is like filled with random flowers. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all of the leaves and all of the flowers off the tops of these. I mainly bought the ones that are $1.75 just because they're the cheapest and I'm on a budget. These ones are $3.50, but like it's a nice little bundle. This is not all I have. I have another little bundle of like cherry blossoms. But for right now, I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna take off all of the flowers off the stems. And then I'm gonna take all of the leaves off of them as well. And I'm gonna separate them into 2 separate bags. So one bag is gonna be for flowers and the other bag is gonna be for like the stems. All right. Okay, so I didn't record myself making this bit, but I made sort of like a dome that goes over the top, like this, and there's a hole for the battery pack. And then the strap that I made for around my head is just sewn to it by hand. So I'm hoping that this will be sturdy enough. It seems sturdy enough. And then I'm gonna make a little pouch to put this in, and this is gonna go inside the wig. Made this little bag with these little drawstrings so I can close it. And then this is where I'm gonna put these, and hopefully it fits because I did make it pretty small because I wanted to hold it tightly, but oh, that's perfect. Now I'm gonna close the drawstrings like that. I'm gonna tie it closed. And the reason why I made this is just because I have it wrapped in black tape. I don't have any other tape. So I just don't want you to be able to see it through the wig. And then you can see the buttons, and I can turn them on like that. And I can just hide this up under the wig. So yeah, this is what the top of it looks like. It looks better than I thought it was going to be honest. Yeah, so I'm gonna set this up on a wig head, and I'll be right back. This is how it looks on the wig head. And it's gonna be a little bit loose on the wig head just because the wig head's a little bit smaller than my actual head. So this is how it sits, and then this is gonna be right on top. And I know this wig is a ever so slightly different color than this, but this is wrapped with a color that is similar to the wig. And if all goes well, the wig is gonna fit over all of this, like that, and it sits underneath it. And I'll probably put a little clip. I'll probably put a little clip or something right here so that I can clip it down to the yellow bit so you can't see it. But I am gonna style the wig around these pieces so you don't really notice them. But it is pretty noticeable. Yeah, so it is pretty noticeable. You can see all of this. I'm just hoping that once it's on my actual head, you don't notice, because these are going to be separate pieces. They're going to be stored separately, so I can't very well just like glue all the hair to this. I'm going to style it and I'm going to see how it goes, and I'll be back with an update. Okay, so this is the finished wig. I put these little things here for the sides just because they make it a wig more comfortable for me. And then this is the braid. Okay, this is the back of it. I did a bunch of big flowers here to cover up this little, there's like a little ponytail in there. So I just did a whole bunch of flowers around the top of it. I might stick a couple flowers on the sides right here. And this is the braid down. And this is the other side. And inside here I've got some little braids, but like a braid there. But you can't really see them super well because they're covered in flowers, but the intention wasn't really to be able to see them. So I'm gonna see about getting some footage of it on me because it's a little bit hard to see what it will look like on someone with it being on a wig head.